You're too intense. You're too abrasive. You're not collaborative. You need to be less direct. This is all feedback I've had clients come to me saying that they need to fix. And really, all they're trying to do is be efficient. Is this something that you've ever experienced? Hi, my name is Margaret Izzard Oskoui, and I'm a voice expert and coach. And I am here to help you learn how to make your voice work for you in the workplace. One of the least helpful pieces of feedback that I feel like a lot of my clients have received or been on the receiving end of are comments like that they aren't collaborative, that they need to be less direct in order to create a better work environment. And it is feedback that I think is really misdirected. There's nothing wrong with being direct. I actually think being direct is an incredible skill set. It's highly efficient, it leaves less room for misinterpretation and misunderstanding, and it saves time. That said, not all being direct is the same. Hi, how are you? And hi, how are you don't mean the same thing. So if you wouldn't greet someone that way, why would you communicate something in the workplace in that way? I need you to do this for me today. I need you to do this for me today. Those are very different conversations. What do you think about this idea? What do you think about this idea? Again, those are very different questions. They make the listener feel an extremely different way, right? And so when you're thinking about being a direct person, if you're somebody who identifies with that, if you're somebody who wants to be direct in the workplace, it's not about your content, it's about how you deliver it. You don't need to water down your content in order to be seen as collaborative. You don't need to water your content down in order to come off as less intense or less abrasive or less aggressive. It's just about how you deliver that content. My dad always used to call it superfluous fluff. He's a lawyer. He taught me how to write, so I had a really direct writing style. And I was in honors English my sophomore year in high school, and my teacher wrote on a book report that I was too direct and she really didn't like how I'd written that book report. And she gave me an example of how she would have written one of my sentences. And my dad said to me, "Oh my gosh, that's filled with superfluous fluff." And it's always stuck with me because that's the repetition, right? Superfluous and fluff. They don't need to be in the same sentence, right? You're repeating yourself, which is why it's a joke. But anyways, that always sticks with me when I'm talking with my direct communicators because sometimes we don't want superfluous fluff in our communication styles. Some of us really appreciate that just direct, straightforward communication. And so, how do we go about doing that in a way that's accessible to everybody, even to those who might like a little bit extra verbiage in their conversation style, so that everybody's voice can be heard and you can create that collaborative environment that you believe in while still maintaining your core values? I've talked a lot about inflection in the past few months, and I'm going to stick with it. The first step to being able to be direct in the workplace in a way that is inclusive and collaborative and really works for you and other people is to be really cognizant of using inflection all the time. Inflection, for those of you who don't remember, is when you go up in pitch and down in pitch as you're speaking. And if you want a refresher as to what inflection is and how it works for you, and also the nitty gritty details of how to integrate it into your speech pattern, I would refer you over to our YouTube video on inflection or going to our website and visiting our blog post that's all about how to use inflection and how to integrate that into your speech pattern. But inflection is the core component of a really compelling and engaging speech pattern. And it is very important. If I don't speak with inflection, can you get this done by the end of today? And I do speak with inflection, can you get this done by the end of today? It has a huge impact, as you can see and hear. So What I want you to do is take this next week to really focus on inflection. Make sure you're using it all the time when you're trying to be efficient, when you're frustrated, when you're just trying to get stuff done. Any moment when you think you might not be using inflection, really check in and make sure you are. The second vocal characteristic that I talk about when it comes to being able to maintain a very direct communication style while still having that collaborative and inclusive and accessible environment is continuous sound. So, this is a term I've kind of made up. We use it at Peacock Voices. But if you're from the musical world, we took it straight from the legato line. So, continuous sound is the opposite of a rhythmic speech pattern. For example, if I say, I need you to get this done today, that had inflection, but it wasn't continuous. So, we had a really rhythmic speech pattern. I'm going to say it again. I need you to get this done by today. Versus, if I utilize continuous sound, I need you to get this done by today. Same pitches, same inflection, same resonance, but a very different experience. Again, if I say it in a question, can you get this done by today? Versus, can you get this done by today? Those are very different experiences for your listener. So, practicing connecting your vowels or connecting your words instead of having excess space in between your words and syllables as you're speaking. This will allow for people to feel like they're not being barked at, for a better way of putting it. Um, but it's a much more inclusive and engaging communication style. And again, it has nothing to do with content. Same sentence, same phrase, but just a different reception to how you say it. The third characteristic that I like to discuss when thinking about having a direct communication style that is still very inclusive and welcoming and creates that kind of collaborative environment we're looking for is how you create volume. So we can have directional volume. Can you get this done today? Versus what I like to call a vocal hug. Can you get this done today? It's very subtle, but the difference between being talked at and talked with is really, really important. So, how we do this is we think of having wide air, wide sound. So, I want you to stick your arms out into a V. Inhale, bringing your arms back, and then exhale, pushing your arms out, keeping your shoulders down. Inhale, arms back. Exhale, pushing out, almost like there's some resistance on your hands. Now, on your exhale, I want you to speak. Can you get this done today? And that's going to send your sound wide and out. And that's going to be a much more inclusive way to create volume than, can you get this done today? Which is more forward. Okay. So just something to think about. And it's a little bit nuanced, but it's a very effective way to create volume in your body that brings people into the conversation instead of having them feel like you're talking at them. The fourth thing that you need to do in order to be able to maintain a really direct communication style while also being collaborative and creating that really lovely workplace environment is to practice. Put all of these things together. Practice having wide air, wide sound, continuous sound, and inflection at all times. Let's say there is a meeting you normally run. Maybe before you get onto that meeting, practice how you're going to say hello to everybody, utilizing your arm movements with continuous sound and inflection. Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's meeting, right? Or whatever it is you would normally say. How was your weekend? Or maybe if you have a question you ask everybody, like, what's the favorite thing that you've eaten in the past week, right? What's a favorite thing you've eaten in the past week or cooked or whatever your icebreaker is going to be. Practice it before you get onto the call so your body is set up. It's ready to use inflection. It's ready to use continuous sound, and it's ready to use wide air and wide sound so you bring people into your sound instead of talking at them. This works in person as well. You can do it in the privacy of your office. You can go to a restroom to practice. You can do it at home. Figuring out a way to practice that works for you. And if you want more tips on practicing, we do have a blog post about it on our website at www.peacockvoices.com. The results of doing this work and really integrating these vocal characteristics into your speech pattern is that you're able to be as direct as you want to be. you're able to maintain the core of your values when it comes to efficiency and directness, but do it in a way that also allows for you to create that collaborative environment that you want to. As always, I hope that this was interesting, that you learned something new. And if you want to keep learning how your voice can work for you, be sure to like and follow below. Have a wonderful day.